The Mercedes team's organizational structure has undergone a significant change in recent years, and after nearly a decade of dominance, they're no longer even close to challenging for the championship. Is it any coincidence then that these changes behind the scenes have had an impact on the team's ability to perform on the track? We don't think so. So let's examine the significant personnel changes that might have contributed to their demise. And be sure to watch all the way to the end if you want to learn about the significant upgrades Mercedes plans to implement as soon as the following few Grands Prix. The most recent high-profile departure at Mercedes was former chief strategist James Vowles, who Wolff admitted would have had to unseat him as team boss to progress further up in the organization. Instead, Vowles has joined Mercedes power unit customer Williams as team principal, making him one of Wolff's rivals on the track. When Vowles worked for Mercedes, he did more than just sort out the team's race strategy. He was also instrumental in helping to find promising young drivers and formulate corporate strategy. He has been with the team since its inception in 2001, through its BAR, Honda and Brawn eras, making him one of the original Brackley boys. While Wolff is confident that the team's revised strategy structure will make up for Vowles' departure, the veteran's insight would have been invaluable through this turbulent time. All things considered, Mercedes power units have been rock-solid reliable over the past couple of seasons. In 2022, the team nearly had a perfect record, but for Lewis Hamilton's early retirement from the Belgian Grand Prix, the team later revealing that contact with Fernando Alonso on the opening lap destroyed his power unit. One of the key figures behind their power unit success was Andy Cowell, who left the team in June 2020 and was succeeded by his deputy, Hywell Thomas. But while their power units have been the most reliable on the grid, it appears both Honda and Ferrari have overtaken them in performance. Since engine manufacturers can only make adjustments that improve reliability, the switch to E10 fuels in 2022 had a major impact on their planning for that year. It was a worrying sign for a team that had been unbeatable in the hybrid era. But Mercedes engine customers Williams and Aston Martin performed well in Bahrain, suggesting they have gotten back on top of their performance deficit. One of the key players in Mercedes' success during the hybrid era was Aldo Costa, who resigned from his role as engineering director in 2019 to join the Italian chassis manufacturer Dallara. Team boss Toto Wolff described him as a pillar of the team when he left. And although it was before work on the 2022 regulations began, Costa's reputation suggests he would have been an invaluable mind to tackle the new regulations. Costa is also known for being one of the most successful engineers before his time at Mercedes, having worked at Ferrari during the Schumacher dominance era. He was replaced by John Owen, who currently leads the tech engineering group, reporting to Mike Elliott. Owen has been with the team since 2007 when it was Honda, having previously worked at Sauber. It is safe to assume that all of the experience Costa took with him would have been extremely helpful in their current circumstance, so that loss may have had a significant influence on how things turned out. Midway through the 2021 season, in April, it was announced that James Allison would be moved over to become Chief Technical Officer of the Mercedes AMG Group. Allison's new role meant he stepped away from his position as technical director, being replaced by Mike Elliott. Since 2021, Allison's involvement with their F1 operations has been minimal, as he's been the technical lead of Ineos Team UK, working on racing boats. But in an attempt to quickly return to competitiveness, Mercedes have now brought Allison back to the design team to oversee upgrades for the W14. So it will be interesting to see how much of an impact his return will have on the car's competitiveness. It only took until the first qualifying day of the 2023 F1 season for team principal Toto Wolff to declare that the car concept Mercedes had retained for this year was probably an incorrect route and would need to be reconsidered. And Wolff responded in the affirmative when questioned by the media about whether the same applied to the upgrade package Mercedes already had in the works. In the team's post-Bahrain Grand Prix debrief video, the team's trackside engineering director Andrew Shovlin suggested changes that did offer potential gains could be imminent. But he supported Wolff's position that the degree of changes that are really required might be a much longer project. He also hinted that the distinctive minimal side pods might be changed for a design that would be more in keeping with the competition. People have tended to use the word concept when they mean the side pod design, and Toto had said recently that we are looking at a revision that is going to come along in the next few races anyway, said Shovlin. Given the gap to the front, of course, we are going to look at bigger departures and more radical changes. But those changes take time to turn into a faster solution in the wind tunnel. You can't do them overnight. There is quite a lot of development that you've got to do around any sort of big change in geometry in that area. Of course, we are looking at where we can improve the car. We are looking for potential to develop, and you will see visible changes coming on the car over the next few races. Mercedes needs to understand what is causing the performance issues. Just because the side pods are different, it doesn't mean that the losses are coming from there. It's much more likely to be located in the interaction of the car's rear ends, side pods, and underfloor. One thing is clear: the issue is unmistakably aerodynamic. This is because mechanically, the Mercedes car is the same as the Aston Martin, which just leaves the airflow coming over the front wing, through the front suspension, down the side pods, and under the floor as the problem areas. That is a huge area to cover, and it's not just a case of let's change the side pods. Even changing the side pods can quite often involve a fundamental redesign, as the team will need to move the radiators and mounting points, not to mention the floor's shape is somewhat dictated by the side pods. Despite the possibility that Mercedes may need to forego short-term gains with its current W14 in order to pursue an alternative design path, its opposition is not convinced that the team will stay down for too long. They believe it is far too early to declare Mercedes out of the race at the front based solely on how it performed in Bahrain. Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur said, "It's race one and we don't have to make any conclusions. I think that Mercedes will wake up soon. We don't know what will happen next week. The next race will be a different story in Jeddah with a different tarmac. So let's see in Jeddah if we have a better picture." Red Bull Motorsport advisor Helmut Marko concurs with Vasseur that Mercedes can improve on its current situation. When asked which team posed the greatest threat to Red Bull, Marko said, "After race one, it's difficult to say. There are still many competitors left. I also believe that Mercedes will become better throughout the season." Red Bull team boss Christian Horner also believes that if Mercedes does switch to a better performing concept, it could make significant gains. "I've been around long enough to see things change so quickly," he said. "I think these cars are still relatively immature, and as teams develop and upgrades come, things will change." Amid talk of Mercedes' changing concept, Horner believes that there may be significant convergence toward the downwash side pod solution that his team pioneered and that Aston Martin has also pursued. "I think the operating windows of these cars are very narrow and every team in the top three looks like it has developed its own theme," he added. "One team has adopted our theme and it made a gain. So I guess at one point it is going to converge, and that can happen during a season." Share your predictions for Mercedes' chances this season. We doubt that they will be able to fix the W14 in time to prevent Red Bull, Ferrari and Aston Martin from getting away with their development. However, it is conceivable that they can get there in a matter of weeks rather than months, if there is a fairly straightforward fix to their current errors. Do you think that that is even remotely possible? Let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking it and subscribing. Be sure to click the bell icon to be notified of future uploads. Thanks for watching.